Welcome to DROD'S Man Boxing. I'm coming at you again with another one. Listen, Marcus Almeida Buchecha did his thing yesterday. He won his fight in the first round with an impressive heel hook. It was interesting. I wanted to break that down and talk about it, but it was very difficult after I saw that interview that he did with ONE FC. Listen, if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch the video. You can watch the entire fight, the entire card. But the interview, it was a very, very, very teary-eyed interview. Like I'm not a crier. I'm not an emotional person, but man, it just, listen, it's very, very sad. I mean, he lost his friend, and in the interview, he was talking about the loss of his friend. And he just started breaking down in the interview and just crying. He said that throughout the entire camp, he was crying and crying, and he was finding it very difficult for him to mentally and emotionally prepare for that fight. The same thing that Felipe Pena said. It's very, very difficult to prepare for something when your mind wants to go somewhere else. You know, people are like, oh, it's all about mental fortitude. Listen, I got all that. Anyone who's never lost a family member, who has never had to go through a traumatic situation, you would not understand. When my grandfather passed away, it was very difficult because I was trying to take care of business, but at the same time, I did not want to forget about my grandfather. Like I wanted time to think about his memories, his legacy, and to grieve properly. And I couldn't. I felt like I was robbed from that because I was too busy focusing on other things. And it really was very difficult. I held it together the best way I could, but it's not healthy and it's not a good thing to do. So Marcus Almeida Buchecha said he wanted to pull out the fight and he couldn't do it.
So I had a job to do here and I came and did it.
And so he was trying to just like hold it all in. And so after the fight, it just came out. It just came out, and he said he would need to take a vacation. And what does that mean? What it means is that he felt the stress and the weight of it. And see, stress is just the wear and tear of life. And what happens is when you're not able to properly grieve.
Lost one of my best friends. The guy was a brother to me. Lost in a tragic way.
And go through the process, then you stay at a heightened level of stress, and you carry on that stress for a long period of time. People think that mental illness and depression, anxiety, and all that stuff happens overnight. What happens is it's an accumulation of stuff that beats you down time and time again. So him holding that in for an entire camp and fighting and fighting and fighting and just wanting to grieve the proper way.
These last 3 weeks was the hardest time of my life.
It was very, very tough on him, and you can see the way he broke down. And the one thing he said was, he was like, man, this is so small to me. And he was talking about it being small, and that's what I was trying to say in the last video, was that there's some things in life that's more important than life itself, and some things it just does not matter at that point. It has nothing to do with me being mentally strong, mentally weak. It has a lot to do with where my priorities lie. You know, I used to be a person that works so hard and works long hours, and now my concept, my idea is like, look, I want to work and get home to my family. That's my mindset. I don't want to miss my family's lives focusing on this. So your priorities change. I'm not saying it's a good thing, bad thing. I'm just saying that is what it is. The older you get, you mature, things don't matter. So what Marcus Almeida Buchecha was saying was like, listen, we did this fight. I've always wanted to carry out my dreams. This is what I want to do.
Now he's there till he's celebrating, having a beer here, celebrating my victory. So
there's some things that's just greater than you can ever imagine, and I think that's something that we need to keep dear to our hearts, right? We need to put things in perspective in our life, and the same thing to how we judge these athletes. We got to put things into perspective and show respect to each other, because some cultures grieve differently. There are some cultures, you know, like for example, Caucasian Americans, as trying to be as politically correct as I can, they grieve, the way they grieve is very different than Black Americans. You know, they are, or Hispanic Americans. I noticed that, for one, funerals are quick, right? white Americans have funerals. It seems like they have them like the day of. I mean, the day of the death. They're quick. People, they grieve and they move forward. You look at some black and Hispanics. It takes them. Sometimes it takes them a week to put someone into the grave, or I've seen longer, and they grieve differently. Some people, there are some cultures that grieve for an entire month. Some grieve for 7 days. Everybody grieves differently.
Day, like, I didn't know how I did it, but so
that goes back to the last video that we were saying, that Felipe Peña was saying it was very difficult for him to focus on that fight, and afterwards, he just let everything down. He just let everything go. He canceled all his seminars. He just, he's dropped some videos on IG, but they haven't really necessarily been Felipe Peña's kind of videos, So he just could not focus even on his business aspect, on the seminars. He let them go. And, he just flew back to Brazil and just did his thing. And I think we need to let people go through their process and breathe and grieve properly. But other than that, it was a teary-eyed thing. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. You can watch it for yourself. It was tough to watch for me. But anyway, tell me what y'all think. DROD'S MMA.
Huge thank you for everything you did inside the circle tonight. Chatri Sidya Tongs dropping $50,000 into your.
I'm just so happy to be here. 3-1, better than all the heavyweights. So I'm here to stay. I'm not going anywhere.
I can't wait to